Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, thanks. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Sorry to cut you. My name is Angelina. I'm a student counselor here. We've gone over informed consent. We've gone over confidentiality at this point. So now, floor is yours. Can I ask you what your name is?
My name is Kyra.
Kyra. Nice to meet you, Kyra.
Nice to meet you.
So tell me, what brings you in today?
Well, I've been having some problems with my boyfriend, and which has resulted in either wants to come here. We've been having like a lot of disagreements, and at one point I ended up cheating. And when he found out, he said he wanted to do couples counseling, and if not, I would be kicked out of our home. He threatened to kick me out, and so I agreed, but I also wanted to come do my own individual therapy before we began counseling, and so here I am.
Alright, so well, thank you for coming in. First of all, it sounds like you made the choice not only to accept couples counseling with him, but to seek your own individual counseling. Can you tell me a little bit about why you're motivated to do so?
Well, I find myself very anxious when we argue, and like I just kind of want to run away from the problems. Kind of feel like I do that all the time when I'm hit with like a little pressure in any situation, and so I want to kind of get better at addressing problems with other people, especially him, and maybe learn better ways to express my feelings to others, because I think I do poorly at that.
So we have a lot I want to ask you about that. You're telling me you feel feelings of anxiety, particularly when you argue, and what sorts of ways do you feel that anxiety?
Like like when we're arguing, he kind of like points the finger at me for the blame. And so in those type of situations, I get very anxious, very nervous, and I shut down. And I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to revisit the subject or anything like that. I just kind of want to be left alone. Like I'll just like tune the argument out in a way. And like, but it's just very frustrating because I feel like I'm never able to say my part or my end of the story or a deal or something like that. But yeah, it's just very hard to deal with.
That sounds challenging. And what sorts of things would you and what is your boyfriend's name? I'm sorry, I meant to
No,
ask.
it's okay, it's
Keith?
Keith.
Okay, so what sorts of things do you and Keith argue about?
We argue a lot about some of like our finances, and then also like things aren't the same between us. I met him, we met 5 years ago, we've been dating since then, and I remember when we first started dating, it used to be fun, very lifelike, but now like it's just not as it was. It's not as fun. All we do is go to work and then come home. We see each other and I mean, go to bed. So that's it. It's kind of like just having a roommate that just sleeps next to me, right next to me in my bubble.
It sounds like there is no longer that feeling of
Excitement.
intimacy and excitement.
Yeah, there's not much of that anymore. And I want to say it started when I moved in maybe almost a year and a half ago. All the conflict or disagreements with things, that's when it started.
So prior to moving in, you'd say those things weren't as apparent or they weren't happening?
No, not as much, because we still went out, we still hung out with our friends, we went on like dates and couples dates and things like that. But now that we've moved in, it's kind of just very hard still adjusting. I feel like we don't date each other anymore. So
And how has You've already been attending couples counseling?
No, not yet. I asked him, like, within our, like, kind of ultimatum, I was like, well, I wanna be able to work on my own things before couples counseling. So, I was like, if I go, I wanna go to my own type of counseling, and which he pays for, so, yeah.
Okay. So he's paying for your counseling today, for example? Okay. You're giving me a little face of that. Do you have some feelings about that?
Yeah, he kinda handles majority of our finances. But, well, like, usually he does mine, but then sometimes there's, like, problems within it. But, yeah, I mean, I have my own job, I make my own money, but he makes more than me, and so sometimes, like, he'll just pay for things, and it's like anything. Not to say that I'm not putting at least something into it, but it's majority.
Okay. And what do you both do for a living?
So I am a paralegal,
Okay.
and I work at a firm, and he is a nurse. He's a CNA,
Okay.
certified nurse
nursing.
assistant,
Okay.
nurse assistant or nursing assistant.
Alright. You both like your jobs?
Yeah, we both like our jobs. I really get along with all of my coworkers, my bosses on my end. I've recently, I'm like in a stage where they wanna promote me. So I'm thinking about that, and also school. I don't have a degree of any sort. I only graduated high school. So, I'm thinking about pursuing school because my job is offered to pay for some of the courses if I do decide to go. So, I'm just taking everything as it goes, trying to make a decision.
Right. Well, congratulations on being at that stage in your career. And what would you do if you went back to school?
Try to finish. I would take the promotion, and I mean, I guess with Keith, I would hopefully we still live together. And then I would obviously try to put more towards our finances since I don't cough up as much.
Okay.
But I would try to contribute more because I don't want him to feel like it has to be all on him, because that's not fair. So,
Are you concerned that he may feel that way now?
probably, and that could also be a reason why he may be so frustrated with me when we argue, or when he argues, because he kind of talks to himself if I don't respond, but, I could probably see where it can get very frustrating for, like, when we handle maybe all the bills or any expenses, like, especially like with our cars. If we get tires changed, or, oil change is probably like $60. So,
I know where you go for sure. Okay. And so I want to go back to when you said that you ended up cheating. I want to kind of pick at that word choice first of all of ending up doing so. Was there a pattern, or was there a motivation prior? And also, if you could tell me more about the incident at all.
okay. Well, I cheated on my boyfriend with, my high school sweetheart, or somebody in high school. His name is Carter, and we ran into each other one time, and after that, we were friends then, so we just kind of rekindled our friendship. But he started showing me like a better time. Like, we went out, like he invited me out for coffee like the first time, and then after that he would continue to invite me out as a friend. We would do fun things, kind of like I actually dated him. But it felt more like real and something that I actually wanted or craved that I don't have to keep. So it felt better to be in that situation than it is with Keith at the moment. So I think that would have probably been the sole reason when it started.
Okay. And when you were going on essentially dates with Carter, was Keith aware? And if so, was he saying anything to you at that point?
Not at the moment. I would kind of just like lie and just tell him that I'm going out with a friend, like a girlfriend or something like that. We're like going to the movie or something. And he didn't suspect anything at first, but yeah,
And then you say that he found out.
he did.
How did he find out?
He found out, but like I had my phone like laying somewhere and it was open. So I mean, like if something came up, he would have just seen it, or anybody would have seen it. And I had a call coming in, and he was bringing me my phone, and he saw like a name, and so after like I ended up talking to Carter, and then after that, I got off the phone with him. My boyfriend asked, he's like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just a friend." And you know, he started to ask more and more about it, and I just ended up telling him.
So it's something.
Because I feel like I couldn't just beat around the bush,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just like gave it to him.
Okay. How do you feel about the whole incident, I suppose?
Well, I do feel guilty, of course, because maybe I should have been with him or with Carter. And I know I probably upset Keith. So I feel bad because this is probably another thing that will come up in an argument that we have in the future. But yeah, I feel kind of bad. I don't regret the part of going out with Carter or finding like establishing something with him, because it was something that me and Keith lacked, so it's something that I wanted per se. But I feel bad that I guess I got caught.
Okay. Alright. Well, thank you for telling me that, for one. I appreciate your candor. So then I want to ask also, what did I want to ask? So clearly you and Keith decided to stay together.
He wants to work out things.
Okay. You feel differently?
I guess in the moment when it happened, I was like indecisive because all the emotions and the finger pointing and things like that. It was like, do I really want this? But since he agreed to pay for therapy, I'm okay with working things out. If they don't, I also would be fine. But we've been together for 5 years, so it's kind of hard to just throw away something that, you know, we've been at for so long. So yeah.
Okay. That feeling of it being hard to throw away, is that out of a sense of connection and loyalty to Keith, or out of potentially a little nervousness to changing your situation?
Maybe a little both, but not more so on the change. Because like if something had to change, like I mean, I could go with Carter, but I mean, me and Keith have built so much between each other that I feel like there's potential to fix it, but I feel like if we can't fix it, then maybe it just wasn't meant to be.
Okay. Alright. And you mentioned to me also that you had feelings of anxiety when you and Keith argue. So I guess I want to ask, were you experiencing feelings of anxiety at any other points in your life?
Yeah, I would say I would feel maybe the same type of anxiety, or had felt the same type of anxiety when I was younger. My mother was in various abusive relationships, especially with my dad, that me and my brother witnessed. So I find like that to bring back anxiety a lot of the times. But other than that, I would just say it would have been maybe the situation between me and my mom. Or not me and my mom and my dad.
Sorry. So witnessing the situation between your parents. Okay. And you said it was an abusive relationship. Okay. Okay. I don't want to scare you away too quickly, so I don't, unless you're willing to share. Would you be willing to share with me what some of that you witnessed was?
As a child, yeah. So, so my brother, me and my brothers, my brother's 12, I'm 25, so I can't think of the difference at the moment. But when we were younger, like sometimes my dad would come home, like probably drunk or maybe he was angry. I don't think he's an alcoholic, but he would sometimes come home drunk or like looked like he was intoxicated, or maybe somebody like spiraled him up at work or from another situation. But he would come home with a certain type of attitude, and then he would put it on my mother, and he would get verbal abuse at first, and then it turned into physical abuse. And sometimes me and my brother witnessed the physical abuse, and if our parents saw us, they would tell us to go to our room, so we wouldn't see it, obviously. But I felt like that really took a toll on me because I had to watch that at such a young age, and it was kind of scary to watch.
It's frightening.
Yeah, and then also for my brother to see it with him being younger, I wouldn't like want him to feel like harmed in a way. So, yeah.
No, I'm sorry you endure that, but thank you for sharing it with me. Did you at any point in that time feel your own safety was threatened?
I mean, you could say that I could say that in a way. I had a feeling like my dad wouldn't harm me or my brother. But like, I probably sensed that maybe I would never see neither of my parents again, which I feel like that, in a way that I feel like that would be like a safety issue with me, because like I had only knew them. And so like to just go with a stranger, I wouldn't know what to anticipate if I just, me and my brother got separated, or if we went to just another person. But I never thought like my parents would put their hands on me. It was just my mom. My mom had always, and it wasn't just my dad. Like I feel like my mom had always been in any type of abusive relationship.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's karma or whatnot, but like a coincidence, every partner she's had is some type of abuse. And sometimes me or my brother would see that too. But I guess like with my dad, it was kind of shocking because I mean that's our dad.
Okay, so your mother and your father lived together at some point, and as you're growing up, if I understand correctly, you also witnessed your mother having other relationships.
Yeah, so I want to say after some of the incidents with my mom and my dad, my father got arrested for assault. So I haven't seen my dad for a couple of years now. Could you say the question again with my mother?
Yeah, I was asking for clarification because from your recounts, it sounds like you and your brother witnessed your mother not only experiencing abuse from your father, but following that, you witnessed her in other relationships as well.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know if it was like bad luck or whatnot, but like nothing was ever, it never got better. And so, I felt bad for my mom because I would have, like from my opinion, like I look up to my mom. So I would have thought like maybe there would have been a better example for me to see. But I guess there wasn't. And so, and I'm over and I'm with Keith, like my mom might be jealous of my relationship with Keith, but then it's like, you know, I don't know, like with her bad experiences with another partner, like I don't know, like it's just not, nothing that I can control, I know that. So,
Like what your mother endured is not something you can control.
yeah. And then now that she sees like me in a relationship, like, and then she feels jealous, it's like I wouldn't know how to tell her, or like I'm her child. I don't know.
Do you feel that she is jealous of you and Keith?
I mean, yeah, at times, cause we don't have like that type of aspect, but we're physical with each other. So my mom may be jealous of that because we get along. I don't know, but it's very difficult sometimes when she sees like us being together.
Okay. Alright. And you said that you had anxiety when you and Keith fight, like you feel anxiety in your body, and that these experiences growing up and witnessing your parents having disagreements and having or engaging in abusive behavior also were times when you felt anxious. What does that anxiety feel like in your body? Like what is happening in your body when you feel that?
For the most part, I shut down. Like I feel like a sense of like being terrified or like scared to even like address like any type of subject that involves conflict. Like sometimes I want to cry about it, or like I just get really sad, and I feel very overwhelmed because it feels like I have just like a lot of weight to carry with that, and it's just hard to carry around because I feel like now it's just affecting me. It affects me in other aspects of my life. Like sometimes I go to work a little anxious, I come home anxious, or I feel like overly stressed or something like that. Like if I have an argument with Keith, like the night prior I go to work, like I can't kind of focus on things. Like I don't really eat as much as I used to. I have a hard time sleeping. Kind of starting not to have any energy to do anything. But yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like this is taking a toll physically and mentally for you. Okay. Sorry. Let me just check the time real quick. It is still looking beautiful. Okay. Well, that sounds really challenging. So going back to you and Keith then, initially it sounds like you're not particularly keen on couples counseling. Is that true, or am I misunderstanding?
I'm willing to go if there's a potential for change. Maybe also if that includes if it changes me. Like I hope to be changed here individually in individual counseling, but like when we argue, and Keith like yells or he makes certain comments, like I feel like that what makes me the most anxious and uncomfortable, because like I feel like with that I can't express the things I want to tell him, and then or I just don't even want to visit like the subject anymore because it's just the yelling and the demeaning. Like it just overwhelms me so much.
Okay. And so that change yourself, what would that look like for you, ideally?
I guess a change would be to be more to be more verbal, with like my feelings and emotions towards him, because I feel like I don't really ever try to get that out, or I can get it out. So I would say to start expressing and stating my feelings, because I feel like he never also hears me out on those things either. And maybe like another thing I would see to change when we go to couples counseling, maybe like to redate ourselves, if that's a word. Like maybe try to implement the things we used to do when we first met to now, because it's just kind of dull. Like there's no spark in the relationship at the moment. So like with what I have with Carter, I feel like there's spark there, and it makes me want to be with Carter more than I want to be with Keith. But I am still like comfortable, I guess you can say, being with Keith.
Okay. So you still, it sounds like you still care about Keith, but you really value the relationship that you and Carter had. Is it still going on?
Since Keith found out, no.
How long ago was that?
Maybe a month ago, I could say. Cause when he found out, I kind of stopped contact with him, cause of everything that happened. Like I could have lost my home or like a place to live. But yeah, I'm sure he probably wants an explanation from why I haven't spoken to him. But like, I feel like when I do talk to him, I might shut down, or like I may not be able to get it out. And I don't know how to explain that to him, because I kind of don't owe him anything. But then he deserves an explanation.
So it sounds like you don't owe him more of you than you're willing to give, but at the same time you feel he is deserving of understanding why you're not getting in touch with him.
Yeah, because then like I know it's my fault, but at the same time it's like I kind of wanted it to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you would have engaged if it wasn't something that was bringing you some level of fulfillment in your own life. Now, I also am wondering, if you were to go on those same dates with Keith, do you think you would have still pursued a relationship with Carter?
Maybe not, because like when it comes with like now, for us to like go do something, like Keith always says that I don't have the time or I don't make the time, but he never really asks. So if he asked, I would work around it the best way I can. But like he doesn't try. Like, I mean, he may cook one time, or he may clean. Like some of the responsibilities are kind of shared between us, but like it's let's go out, let's leave the house, because maybe a date for us right now is to watch a Disney movie, and that's kind of boring.
But something more, something
like
an event.
Like we used to like dirt bike, or what's it called, four-wheeler. We used to do like a lot of fun things, and I just feel like it was fun then. It's like we were best friends then, but it's like he's just a body there that eats and sleeps there with me. There's nothing fun to do.
Yeah, it sounds like that'd be more draining than enjoyable.
Yeah.
So have you initiated any of those dates, or have you asked him on any dates?
Keith?
Yes.
No, because I kind of feel like maybe he should, but then I guess that's like a gender role thing that I'm going against. But no, I haven't tried. But it's worth a shot.
I know that it's like difficult, or from what you're saying, for you to express. It sounds like a lot of your thoughts to Keith. But regardless, have you tried talking to him about this before, or has he brought up
About
launching dates or going on dates more?
no. He doesn't, I think, say the question.
So, from what you've been telling me, it sounds like it's difficult for you to express a lot of the things on your mind or a lot of your feelings, particularly when you and Keith are arguing especially. But in other contexts, have you talked to him about going on more dates or on going dates at all?
No, because he's the one usually bring it up. But then it comes back with me with time. He never asked me time wise, like when. He may mention it. He's like, oh, we should go there. But then like it's just a done deal like that. He'll just say, oh, we should go there. He'll never ask like, do you want to go there? I'm like, that never really happens. Or like maybe he doesn't go out his way to plan it. And then like it will come back on me with time, but then at the same time, like I just never really am told what to make time for, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so it sounds like you both have ideas for things you want to do as dates, and that it's a lack of dates that kind of contributed to you pursuing a relationship with Carter to begin with. So between you and Keith, you've had some discussion about dates, but they haven't been. Yeah, they haven't been initiated, okay. And the ideas have been shared, but actually planning them has fallen through. Is that fair? Okay. And do you feel that that is partially on you? As in like, outside of your own schedule, do you feel that there is something differently in the way you would have handled it? Or do you feel that Keith needs to handle it differently?
Now that I think about it, maybe on both ends,
Okay.
it could be our fault. Because I say I can make the time, but sometimes I do get anxious of the idea of going out with Keith because we haven't done it in so long. And also, like I feel like if I do bring an idea, like I feel like he'll try to demean that idea or something like that. Cause he would always make the dates up, not me. And so maybe, I feel like my ideas wouldn't be as satisfactory as his. I think I said that right.
I'll take it, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had instances in the past between you where you felt like your idea was not received well by him?
Kind of never really said them. They roll in my head,
Okay.
but every time I think about asking him, like, should we go? Like, I feel like he might spur, like, an argument out of it.
Okay, so it sounds like you don't have an incident to point to, but you still have a strong aversion to maybe sharing your ideas in case they're not met with acceptance.
Yes, because I feel like when it's his idea and his execution, and I agree to it, it's fine. But then if it's the reverse around with me, then he doesn't like it.
Okay,
Make sense?
so I would love for you to tell me that again.
So, like if he thinks of it, plans it, and we go on it, and he sees that like I enjoy it, it's fine. But then if I ask him about it, plan it, I feel like he doesn't enjoy it as much. Like he doesn't have as much control if I plan a date than he would.
Okay, and it's important
For
to
him
have
to
that
control it. Yes.
Okay,
There you go. It was the controlling part.
the controlling part.
Yes.
Okay, and how do you feel about that?
I mean, I like when he plans the things, or plans the dates for us, but, with the control aspect of it, it doesn't have to always be in his hands, and I want him to like figure that out, or not even figure it out, I want him to know that, but I guess when I try to explain it to him, like he doesn't want that to happen for some reason. He doesn't want me to take in control of the dating aspect of
Okay.
our relationship.
So it sounds like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you both have not been going on dates recently because he's not initiating them, and you want him to actually follow through on initiation. But at the same time, you want to communicate to him that he doesn't have to initiate all the time, and that you can do some of it. Does that sound about right? Does those sound reconcilable to you?
They do.
Okay. All right. I'll take you on that. We'll talk about that more, so I'm sure. I also am curious, we'll switch gears for a minute while we process, I suppose. You said your brother is 12 right now? Is he living with your mother?
Yes, he does.
Okay. What is your relationship like with him?
We're really close. His name is Jensen. Like I said, like before, like kind of like with my parents being abusive, we would kind of like hide. And so like I try like to let my brother confide in me whenever he needs to, or if he needs anybody to talk to, I make sure like to let him know that I'm open, and if he needs to talk or tell me something that he could come to me. Since he still lives with my mother, I try to take him out of the environment as much as I can. And I bring him over to Keith and I's house. They have a good relationship, kind of like a brother bond. But yeah, I'll take my brother anywhere. I could say he's my kid, but he's not. But me and my brother are really close.
That's good. It sounds like you look forward to spending time with him also.
I do. You can probably say that I like my brother more than my boyfriend.
I mean, that's a fair loyalty, I think.
We do more things than me and Keith.
Really? Okay. I was about to ask if maybe Jensen accompanies you and Keith on any, maybe not dates, but any
Our movie nights.
Your
A lot of my movie nights. Because, we can't take him a lot of places. Can't take him to a bar. But, I will always invite him over. I know me and Keith might be watching a movie like on a Friday night. Or if like Keith is working late, I'll always go get my brother and we'll go home. Play games, video games, watch TV, whatever he wants. We'll order takeout.
Right. And does Keith enjoy having your brother around also?
He does.
Okay.
They're really good together. They get along, which is good for the most of the part. They need to get along. But yeah, they're good. I have a good relationship.
That sounds like a really nice thing to have in your home. That everyone gets along like that.
Yeah, those two, yes.
Those two get along. Okay. So I guess I'm curious too. You talked about individual change that you want to make prior to couples counseling. What is that ideal individual change to you, or what would that feel like to you?
I feel like if I had to make change, it would make things easier for me to express my feelings to Keith. Because I just feel like I can't say a lot of things. But I feel like change here and changing couples therapy was probably communication.
Okay.
I feel like if I can learn better communication skills, like I'll be able to like tell Keith, like, hey, we're lacking this. Can we, or we should do this, or things like that, and maybe take control of the situation. So maybe figuring out a balance with the control.
Okay.
And then being a better communicator. Because, I guess I can say that, like, Keith does all the communicating or talking, and then I just, like, sit and listen. And just comply sometimes, and that's a done deal. And then, like, you can also say that in our arguments, but other than that, like, I don't really express as much. Because I feel like the things he has to say can be a little overpowering for me to kind of hear out. And so I find myself stuck to talk.
Now, what do you mean overpowering?
Like Keith seems like was controlling me, so I kind of just let it happen. So I kind of take it in, and then like taking it all in makes me anxious. So I guess that's the aspect of it being overpowering. Like I guess you can say it got to a point where I couldn't handle it, and I was like, okay, I want to go to my own individual therapy instead of couples therapy.
Okay.
So yeah.
And you said you feel prevented from sharing your thoughts and saying what you feel like you want to say to Keith. What do you think is stopping you, or what is it, if you can point at something?
Maybe like a reaction.
Okay, so you're concerned about a reaction from Keith?
Yeah.
What you're saying?
Like I don't know if you'll like spaz out and we'll get back into another argument, or I haven't had like any like an anticipation of him getting physical with me, but I always am cautious of it. Like I look for cues, but like I also look at that, like I don't want to ever get to that.
Okay, that's understandable. It sounds like you are somewhat prevented from trusting Keith.
You could say that. Yeah.
Do you feel that he has been able to trust you?
Up until the point where he found out that I was with Carter. I feel like he lost all that trust. He was upset for a couple of days. Cause we argued about it, we didn't talk about it really. And then out of nowhere he brought the therapy to me, like the ultimatum. So, yeah.
Okay. So, let me see our time. We're getting close to the end of our time, so I do kind of want to go over the details I have with you. So from what it sounds like, you and Keith have gotten to a point in your relationship where you're pursuing couples counseling as well as really looking at your relationship with each other, and that you feel difficulties in communicating with Keith, and you're willing to work on the relationship and stay in it if change comes from it. Okay. So is there anything that you feel we didn't get a chance to talk about yet today?
No, not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay. Alright. I do appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
I hope that together we can keep talking, keep figuring out how to help you get to where you want to be, how to help you communicate in the way that you want to communicate as.
I agree.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you. I'm just glad to be here.
Universe. I keep it.